Hello, Tamily. It is time for our 84th Ask Tamily interview. Our guest today is Kat, and her Instagram name is cat_tam. She is joining us from Australia, where it is Sunday morning already, and it is 8 p.m. Eastern here in South Carolina. Of course, we have some questions planned for Kat, but we will also scroll through the chat and take questions live, which is really the most fun. So make sure to type in your questions, and we will get started with her in just a moment. It's always the most critical part to get connected. We should be connected in just a second. Hello.
Hello.
Thank you very much for joining us from halfway around the world.
I know, it's Sunday morning and it's your time to, go out on a Saturday night.
Right. I don't know that I'm going out, but I might work after this. So.
Oh, okay.
But good morning, Kat, and thank you for being our 84th Ask Tamily interview.
84. I'm so impressed by the work you girls do. Yeah, it's really good.
It's so cool to get to know people this way. I absolutely.
Yeah.
And thank you for being willing to be our 84th interview. We are going to jump in with some of our planned questions, but of course we'll take live questions from the chat also.
Yeah.
And we'd like to start with our favorite question, which is, when and how did you start with the Tracy Anderson method?
I started on doing metamorphosis in October 2017. And I had been, before that, I'd been an ocean swimmer, or a pool swimmer and then an ocean swimmer for a number of years. And I started getting, repetitive strain. Oh, I've just lost you, sorry. I started getting repetitive strain injury, with my elbow. And anyway, and then I'd have to sit out for 6 weeks, and then, the shoulder or something. So I decided I needed something that I could do all of the time. And also ocean swimming in the winters, you don't always get the chance to swim in the winter.
Yeah.
So, so I don't know how I'd heard of the Tracy Anderson method, but it just seemed like such a distant thing. It seemed like what people did in America. And, and even buying some DVDs from the States was such a foreign concept to me, even back then, because I wasn't sure if our DVDs played or those DVDs played an out player. But anyway, I eventually did some homework and I bought the Metamorphosis Abcentric DVD, and I did that for the 30 days. And I just found that Tamily before that hadn't really paid much attention, but I had noticed that there was a community of people. And so I started following them while I was doing Metamorphosis and realised, actually, I want to do what they're doing. I really want to do that streaming. It looks like loads of fun. Yeah. And so when I finished Metamorphosis and then I went straight into streaming, and I'm pretty sure that was in early 2018. I'm pretty sure TA didn't have all the options then. I feel like we just went on and streamed whatever it was.
I think it was only one option, really, until she added beginner, and then it went totally off the charts.
Yeah. And because the Metamorphosis was just half an hour of the muscular structure part, and I was aware that the streaming was longer, and I was really following everyone on Instagram, but this looks really hard. I then did the Metamorphosis twice. Okay. So I'd play them twice. So I was on the mat for an hour.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah. Because I didn't want to. I guess if I had beginners, I guess I would have gone into streaming and started beginners or fundamental or something. But it looked so hard. I thought I better do something to be able to stream.
Do that. So do you ever do ocean swimming anymore still, or did you totally give it up?
I've totally given it up. I do ocean dipping now. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I do go for swims, but I don't do laps.
Mhm.
And actually, it's a skill that I've lost. It's a skill that you can build up, but I try and swim 20 strokes, and I'm not moving very far. You build particular muscles and a particular rhythm, so that you can really glide through the water, enjoy it. But now I just feel like I'm really struggling.
Oh, what an interesting fact we already learned about you.
Yeah. Well, I live opposite the ocean. I live in a coastal town, so got to make use of what you've got.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So since you have started and, got dedicated to the method, what kind of results have you seen both physically and non-physically?
Yeah, good. The first thing I noticed, even when I was doing metamorphosis, was my legs thinned out. And I consider my legs to be the part of my body that's easy to maintain. But what had happened is when I stopped ocean swimming before I started TA, I joined a gym, like one of these gyms around the corner, and because I really needed to do something to move, and clearly swimming was holding me back. So I did all these classes, and I was thinking, like the boxing class and the pump classes and whatever. And I just bulked, like my calves just bulked outward, and my quads bulked outward, which is, fine because I like being strong. But so then when I did metamorphosis, the first thing I noticed that I could stay strong or feel strong, but my legs just leaned out. That was the first thing I've noticed. And physically, and then just overall, I feel strong. That to me is why I do it. It'd be great to be lean as Tracy, and but that involves the food side of life, not the exercise side of life or the sleep. There's many parts of the equation. But mentally, I was already a yogi, so I already had that mind-body connection and really relied on it, or still rely on it. But I I'd never done an exercise before where I really felt that mind-body connection, and I really feel that doing TA. And she mentions that in the end of her intermediate talk today, and I just thought that this week, I thought, it's such a true part of the method that I love.
It really is. It's so interesting that doesn't happen in other fitness methods.
Well, maybe for others, but for me it didn't.
Yeah.
I mean, I found swimming really relaxing, but I didn't feel totally connected to my body. I could just swim long distances in the ocean with my eyes closed until I bumped into my swimming partner. Otherwise, I just have my eyes closed, or if I was open, I just pretended I was flying, and the ocean floor that I was looking below me was just like this landscape. And I because the breathing has to be really quite rhythmic when you ocean swim, and I just zone out and have a really peaceful time, but not quite the same. I think when I do TA, I feel like I can be in a foul mood, and I can work out, and I can not be in a foul mood.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So,
how do you personally get and stay motivated to work out on a regular basis?
Yeah, well, the first thing I do is, if I'm not motivated, is I'll just quickly open Instagram and scroll through and see what everyone else is doing, and generally that can motivate me enough. And if not that, I just press play. Like I just, you wake up, you put your leggings on. That's kind of the not negotiable. Whether I work out at 6 or 11, the leggings always go on, and so you almost have to work out. But sometimes all I do is I press play, and other times I just think about the mental side of things that I want to achieve, not necessarily the physical side. because, you know, sometimes when I don't want it, when I'm not motivated, it's just I'm too tired, I can't be bothered moving my body. And so then I just think of the mental benefits. And on those days, often I have a really good workout because I'm just trying to like get the anger out or whatever.
Right. Yeah, that's definitely a benefit. Do you have workout partners?
No, I don't. And I guess this is what I like about the TA communities, that you can do something at home alone but still feel completely connected by the community. But no, I wake up and I just try and get it done. Yeah, I mean, it's a little bit different now. I'm sending the kids off to school and then I'm working out. But, you know, there's phases I'm not one for routine. So, yeah, you know, I might wake up and do it before anyone wakes up. But it's rare because then I have to put the headpieces in and they fall out because it's all sweaty. And then I have to do it in silence. And I prefer having the music on really loud. But I don't have a workout partner, but I feel like very connected to the community. Hi, Aggie.
Yeah. I definitely feel the same way. Have you ever met Tracy?
No, I haven't. But once when I was in New York seeing, I saw the lovely Aggie there. I was at 59th Studio pretty much every day doing my workouts, and she was in there. But she came as I finished my class. They were doing a filming with one of the Victoria's Secret models.
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
so she was fully, you know, done up. But obviously she was busy and I couldn't, you know, didn't want to interrupt her.
Yeah.
Although I had a bit of a starstruck moment.
You should have just run up and hugged her.
I just wanted to say, I know that butt. I just wanted to, like, you know. I've been looking at that butt for a long time.
That's for sure.
Yeah.
Well, tell us about your experience at the 59th Street Studio. What did you think of it?
Oh, well, so good. I mean, firstly, everyone's really nice. So that, you know, hi, Michelle. Everyone was really beautiful, and that was really nice. And I think everyone wanted to talk because, I don't know, I'm Australian maybe. And they seem to think the accent's nice. So that was really lovely, that just the vibe there was really beautiful. And the teachers were really lovely, and I can't even remember who I had because I had a different teacher every day. And I wasn't really familiar. I still am not really, apart from the core teachers. And but the heat was just so great. Like, I love that heat and humidity. It was so good.
Yeah. Do you use heat and humidity at home?
I do. Not at the moment because we're in summer and it's hot. I just open the doors and, you know, it's hot enough. And also, but it's not 30-degree heat, but I still feel I really crank up a sweat. But I've got one of infrared heat panel on the ceiling.
Oh, okay.
So I put that on in winter or probably, you know, next month or so, and then I put the humidifier on, and I love it. I love the humidity. Yeah. Less, I used to be really, like, I wouldn't work out unless everything was really hot and humid, trying to replicate 59. But I do that less so now. I'm not that, you know, strict.
It's tough to get it to the level that the studio has it at, for sure.
Yeah, and mentally as well. Like, it's tough to go through that.
Yeah.
It's quite a mental workout to get through that level of heat humidity on your own. And I think, what happened to me is I got injured last year in April, and I slipped a disc, so I wasn't able to work out for 6 months.
Oh, no.
And there's a period of that time where I just couldn't even walk, you know, I was just crawling. But anyway, and so where was I going? Oh, yeah, so after that, when I came back to exercise towards the end of last year, I was just gentle. I think I did beginners for a month, and then I went to intermediate. I'm still at intermediate, actually. I haven't quite made that jump back and I didn't bother so much with the heat and humidity then because I was just trying to get back into moving my body without being fully aware of the issue in my back.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. But, bring on winter and I will have all of that cranked up. I love it. Yeah.
Well, Aggie said she's out with friends, but she wanted to pop in and say that she adores you. And I just wanted to see if she's going to ask a question, even if she has to leave the chat, because Aggie asks the greatest questions. So,
does she?
Call that out. Yes, she does.
She's quite a cutie, Aggie.
She really is. So if she asks the question in the chat, we will definitely ask you.
Yeah. Okay.
We'll give her a minute if she's still on there and ask you another one. Planned for you.
Yeah.
What would be your advice to someone that's new to the Tamily and, new to the Tracy Anderson method?
Okay. This is really good because when I started, I didn't quite find the info I needed on the website. And so Instagram, I was stalking a lot of people to try and get answers to, like we don't have pounds, we use kilos. So I didn't know which weights, should I go heavier, should I go lighter? And so my advice is like, it just doesn't really matter, just start, because I think a lot of me holding back was trying to work out exactly what I had to do. Mm-hmm. So my first bit of advice is just start, and with the weights, I have a tendency to go a little bit higher than lower, but and then reach out to Tamily members to ask specific questions like where do you get your leg weights from if you want to get those. So that would be my first bit of advice. My second bit of advice, well, now there's beginners, intermediate, or advanced. So just start where you think you're physically able, and if you can do and watch the form. Don't think you have to go to a higher level until you've got your form. Like, it's not a contest with anyone. It's just so there's that temptation to jump into a team, but I just don't think you're going to get any results there. You're just going to hurt your body unless you get that form. And because there's no instructions during class, you really have to pay attention to, is the knee pointing out, is the knee pointing forward, are the hips square, the hips not square, are the hands in front of the shoulders or right under the shoulders, is she leaning in, or is she using momentum to lift herself up, or is she using muscle strength. I just think all those little subtleties that once you've been doing it for a long time, you pick them up a lot quicker. So so stay in the lower end to understand the method, because there's no instructions during class. So you have to pick it up by learning and then seeing the results in your own body. And my other advice would be that heat and humidity really matter. Like, get that heat, and get that humidity. It was a game changer for me. It was a real game changer.
Yeah, it really does take it to another level, just from an athletic perspective, and it seems like, I don't know, muscle availability, and then also like changes to your skin tone and everything.
The skin is a big one. And to me, that until you break the sweat, like it's so difficult to you're just getting hotter and hotter, and you're moving, and you just want to stop and have a water break, or stop and wipe the sweat out of your eyeballs. But you just keep on moving. And then when the sweat breaks, then I feel like you've just pushed through the barrier, and then you just sit back and exercise, and your body then is sweating, but you're no longer mentally focused on it. So it really matters. And probably burn a shitload more calories too.
For sure. And you have such a good point about the levels of the workout. I think that's really important for people that are new, because especially like to your point about us having more choices, attainment is more difficult than it used to be. Like most people would not be at that level of athleticism to be able to attain. And there's tons of that are already done the method for years, and the right lane is intermediate. So it's just, like you said, you know, it's not a contest, and people shouldn't put that pressure on themselves. All the workouts are hard. Like, it's just a matter of figuring out which one is the right place for you at that time.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I think, you got to just perfect a lower level before moving up, even though if what you're saying on social media is a higher level, you don't need to be that. You certainly don't need to get the results mentally or physically at attain. You can, yeah. But attain's great. Like, it's complicated, you know.
It is.
There's a lot of 7-step moves, and it's almost like learning a new choreography every week. Yeah.
Those moves amaze me with the 7, 9 different segments. It's they annoy me for the first day, and I just go, what? I can't, you know, I feel like it's never a good workout the first day, but if I can get past that and learn it, I always mentally have to tell myself, today's the learning day, so don't do that when you can't do it. And then the next day, it usually clicks by at least the second or third time.
Yeah, no, it's good.
Have you faced any challenges in doing the method?
Injury. Yeah. So, when I got the Metamorphosis DVD, and it was 30 minutes of dance cardio and 30 minutes of muscular structure, I was doing the dance cardio on a timber floor that sits on a concrete floor. And so it's hard, you know, it's not sprung. And within about a week, I had pulled a tendon. So then I couldn't do dance cardio. So then I had to stop that while I fixed that injury, but I could still do the mat workout. And often when I've tried dance cardio, I feel like my knees or something's always about to hurt, and so I always stop. So basically, I don't do it. And then slipping my disc was so. They're only challenges are injuries, having to stop. Like, it's such a pain. Yeah. You know, there's the FOMO, and then there's the and who knew there was such a thing as exercise FOMO? But there's that, and then just not connecting. Like when I slip my disc, there's just no connection to the physical body. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So we have a question from Nicole.
Hi, Nicole.
First one is, are you still practicing yoga, and how do you incorporate it into your routine?
Yes, I do still practice yoga, and I do it generally after TA. If I go to a class, I'll do it, well, I don't know, I'll do a daytime or an afternoon class. And I'm not a person of routine, so I don't necessarily go to the same class every week at the same time. I just go when I feel like it. But I will try and get a couple of yoga sessions in a week, or at least one class one, and the rest is at home, varying between 10 and 60 minutes.
Okay.
And I just do whatever my body's, you know, craving. Like, you know, I usually always start off with the downward dog at home, and then I just know whether my hips feel tight or whatever part of the body feels tight. Yeah.
Nicole also asked if you use the heat and humidity for yoga as well.
No, I don't do hot yoga, but I have gone to studios to do hot yoga, and having done the Tracy Andersons really helps. Otherwise, I would have completely passed out, you know, balancing one leg in the air and, you know, like that, and it's dripping. Yeah.
We have another question from Meg. She said, how did you slip your disc?
It wasn't a physical injury. Like, I was sitting like I am now, cross-legged on the floor, and my disc slipped. But there was a little bit of suggestion, like, you could feel it, like doing the TAM workout. It was hurting at a particular place, but I didn't really pay too much attention. It was just like a nagging kind of thing. And I just didn't do particular, just before I slipped it, I just didn't do particular exercises or things that Tracy did that hurt that. But it was, I'd say it was an emotional incident. Like I was at a retreat, and it was a rites of passage retreat. So I went as the mother, and then my child, I went with one of my children, and obviously you sit around and you do all this talking and you do all this, like full on. I thought, I didn't expect it. And so obviously these issues, or I don't even know what, I didn't process the actual where the issue came from in terms of which part of my life or whatever. But anyway, there was a lot of emotion, and I was just sitting down doing one of these circle things, and my disc just slipped, and I knew it was related to that. And so I decided I didn't want anyone to touch me. I didn't want to go to a chiropractor. I didn't want to, I went to the GP to confirm the slip disc with an MRI. And I, she gave me all these physio. I just didn't want anyone to touch me. And so I decided that I'd spend the 1 hour that I'd normally spend on the mat doing exercise or moving with Tracy, that I would spend that meditating instead, and kind of visualising a disc that was slipped back and, really nice and juicy and fluid and lovely. And so that's how I changed my meditation practice from 10 minutes, I just close my eyes for 10 minutes, and to a really meaningful practice. Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Thanks for sharing. That's very interesting.
Yeah, look, I remember going to my physio years ago, and well, not that many years ago, and she said 90% of the women that she sees now come in with a non-physical injury. So they don't have anything that's related to a sporting or a fall, or it's just emotions, and they're coming in with all sorts of issues. And I was like, which is another reason that the Tracy Anderson method or yoga or whatever it is that connects you to your body, and you can feel your body holding on to these emotions. And I didn't need to scream or punch a bag if you're into boxing or whatever it is. You just need to get that out.
Yeah, exactly.
Rather than suppress it with smoking or drinking,
Exactly.
Yeah.
Tracy, it's definitely an opportunity to process things, and I'm sure that happens for some other people and some other fitness methods, but to me, it really happens every time you do this method. Like it is an emotionally processing practice.
Yeah, definitely. I remember once I had this dream, and then I didn't think anything of it, but I remembered it, so that was significant. Because I don't remember my dreams. And then I turned on the heat and humidity, sent my kids off to school, and then went to work out. And I just remember I don't know, some point in the TA, this is at the beginning of my journey, I just burst out into tears. And I was like, whoa, where's that coming from? And, I was really shocked, and I had to press stop and, finish my crying, wipe my tears away and continue back. And it all related back to this dream that I had, that I kind of woke up, remembered it, and then didn't think anything of it. But I think my body was still processing it. And and I just thought, wow, it's really powerful stuff. You can't cry when you ocean swim because you wear goggles and then they, fog up. So it's not good to do that.
So anyone who cried during this workout shouldn't feel alone. It happens to most.
Yeah, that's really good.
So we have another question in the chat. We're getting a lot of questions for you. From Kathy, she said, "What message do you tell yourself if you don't feel like working out?"
I think, like I said before, I just try and press play. I just try and just get that out of my brain, and just think that's just it's the little devil on the shoulder talking, you know, and you just got to like block the devil out and just press play, and there's your body automatically goes to press pause and walk out, but you just can't, like, you just got to. And sometimes those workouts, you know, you just go through the motions and you haven't built up much of a sweat, but at least you've moved.
Yeah.
And I've had plenty of those where I've just gone through the motions and they're not, you know, I haven't done anything. I've just gone, yeah, you know, like, yeah. And then there's days when it's the intention behind it that counts. It really is.
Yes.
There was this study done, and you can find it, I don't know how, but on YouTube on a TED Talk.
Okay.
And I think they were from Harvard, but I'll have to find it and I'll post it. I'll post a link. But there was a study done on some Latin American maids, you know, just hotel maids. And I think 80 of them, or anyway, I shouldn't be giving details, and I don't, you know, but there was a bunch of them. And what happened is, you know, they were doing all this vacuuming and scrubbing and flipping mattresses and pushing trolleys and doing all of this physical activity, yet they were all overweight. And so what they did is they split this group of maids in two. And the one group of maids, they give them a presentation and they said, look, do you know that you're exceeding the Surgeon General's recommendation for exercise per day? You're doing more than is required by the average American, right? And this is what you're doing. You're burning this many calories, and you're helping your bone density by doing this, and you're putting on this much muscle mass, and all of these physical activity that you do qualify as exercise. So really, you can lose weight, your waist can become smaller, your blood pressure can go down. And they gave all these stats, and they were like, oh my God, that's amazing, right? And I said, so next time you go exercise, go clean a hotel room, just know that you are contributing to your health. And then the other group, they did and said nothing. And then they brought them back after 8 weeks or 4 weeks, something like this. And before all of this, they took all of their stats for all of the maids, you know, like weight and blood pressure, and, you know, the love of their job, and, you know, like a physical but also psychological testing. And then they brought them back, and then they did the same tests. And the second group that they did nothing, of course, nothing changed. And the first group that now had an intention behind their work, they now knew that they were exercising. They had this almost like a motivation to put into their work, yet they were just doing the same work, right? And they all lost weight. They all had a reduced waistline. That all of their blood pressures went down. They all reported increased enjoyment of work. And so it just goes to show you've got to be very careful about the intention you put into your workout to get a better result. Yeah. It was, yeah. And it's such a good experiment, right?
Yeah.
And then that same group of scientists then got, can I keep on talking? So it really is quite fascinating. That same group of scientists then got paid, you know, uni kids, college kids, do you call them college kids, to come and drink milkshakes. We'll pay you to drink a milkshake. So they got this group, and they came in and they said, look, here's your milkshake, but I want to tell you what you're drinking. It's, you know, this big milkshake. It's called Sensi Shake. Sensi Shake, it's 160 calories, got 0 fat, 0 carb, I don't know, like protein, like, you know, 2 grams of carbohydrates. It's got, you know, it's just really, really healthy, but there's no fat, no carbs, you know, hardly any protein to it. But don't worry, it's only 160 calories. And so then they drank that milkshake. And what they were doing is they measured their ghrelin, which is your hunger hormone. So they measure the ghrelin. So when you're hungry, the hunger hormone goes up. So the higher ghrelin levels, the more your body goes, I'm hungry, I'm hungry. And then once you've eaten, the ghrelin goes down because you're no longer hungry. So they measure the ghrelin level after that, before and after the shakes. And then they sent these college students away, and they brought them back a week later, and they said, we'll pay you some more to drink another shake. Same group of people, different shake. And this one was called Indulgence Shake, and it was like 780 calories. It was like 20 grams of protein, loaded with carbohydrates, and a good 20 grams of fat, or something like this. And their ghrelin levels after the first shake, sensible shake, they were told was 160 calories, barely dropped, which meant they were still hungry. The second shake, which was called Indulgent Shake, and they were told was loaded with, calories and the macros, dropped 3 times more, dropped a lot. And that meant that they were completely satiated, right? But actually, it was the same shake. It was the exact same shake, that some 300 calorie shake with the exact same nutrient profile. But it's just that if you believe that that's going to fill you up, then it does fill you up. And if you believe it doesn't fill you up, then it doesn't fill you up. And I just think the intention you put behind everything, whether it's exercise or eating or everything, is really important.
Yeah, it totally is. That's
Deanna, bananas on. Oh,
but
she's my Tamily bestie.
Like that goes with exactly what Tracy explains about like performance and having intention in what you do.
Yeah.
And that in like elite results is a connection to the fact that you're performing and being intentional about your movements and exercise, like versus my, walking on a treadmill.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So I think some days when I'm not motivated, you just do the moves and there's no intention behind it. But
yeah, you're going to get the results when you have the intention.
Yeah. So that'd be my number one advice for people that already do it, not beginners. Just like try and get the right intention behind it.
Yeah, exactly. You will have to share those links with us, so you have to.
Yeah, I'll find it. Yeah.
Okay. Excellent.
Yeah, it's really good.
Well,
really good.
I don't see any more questions in the chat, so let me go back to one of our planned questions. What would you say is something that you've learned from Tracy?
I guess when I first did the metamorphosis, I was going to, I was swimming, and I was, as I said already, I was going to one of those gyms around the corner, 3 days a week, because I grew up thinking you only needed to exercise 3 days a week. I mean, move every day, like walk and stuff. But, and when I got the metamorphosis DVD, I'm pretty sure that she has a little talk in there. And she says, it's going to sound crazy, but I think you need to do this 6 days a week. And I was like, what? Like my whole life I'd been conditioned, but I did it because that's what she told me. And I just couldn't imagine not doing it like 6 days a week. Yeah. That'd be my number one thing I've learned from Tracy, that you got to move every day, not just walking up to the shops and back.
Right.
Like actually, move.
Yep. Exactly.
Yeah.
That is a huge lesson. That's just different than, what you're told in other methods about frequency. And it's because she's the only one telling the truth. Like,
yeah. I see a few people now saying, exercise. Mm-hmm. Deanna's telling me that walking to the shops doesn't count. Especially if you're going to buy bad food.
Right.
So that's got to be the first thing I've learned from Tracy, and I do see that a little bit in other exercise people telling you that. But honestly, I didn't grow up like that, and I'm trying to tell my kids you got to move every day because I want them to grow up with that mentality, not the
Exactly.
belief that 3 days for 30 minutes, that's what I grew up with. That was a prescription given to us by the government. I'm
Right.
sure of it.
Exactly. Yeah. 90
Yeah.
minutes of exercise a week. Like, we do that in
Yeah.
a day on a regular basis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and then the other thing TA definitely taught me was that, it can be really fun to exercise. I hated the gym. I hated it. It was so full of egos and people putting more weights on their bars than they're capable, and therefore they weren't performing in the form correctly. And I'd be like, oh my God, there's a knee injury and about to happen, or whereas Tracy's really good fun.
Absolutely. Definitely. And I don't think that you could build, the strength and athleticism if it wasn't, 6 days.
Yeah.
I mean,
No.
it definitely makes
No way.
sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
What would you say is your favorite thing about the method?
The variety.
Mm-hmm.
I just love that I'm not doing the same thing next week as I am this week. Like, that is the number one thing. Yeah. Even if she had, even if there was someone that just had 10 options and you just rotated through them, that would drive me nuts. Like,
Right.
I just love the variety. And because of the, not just the beginner intermediate, the weekly rotation of it. And because of that, there's that's why the Tamily works so well, because every week it's changing and there's conversations to be had. I remember when I went to 59th and you're queuing up, you're lining up outside waiting for the class to go into the classroom, and the exact same conversations were happening in real life. People were saying, oh, that move, what do you think? That was on Instagram. I thought that was really quite amazing.
That is amazing. It really is.
So, so the two biggest greatnesses of the Tracy Anderson method would be the variety. Obviously the exercise itself, it's effective, it's lean, it's fun, but I've said it already, I just don't like routine, so,
Yeah. It is definitely perfect for you in that respect.
Yeah.
Have you converted anyone to the Tracy Anderson method?
One person, and it was one of those August, was that last, where she does those August, invite a friend or something?
Yeah.
Deanna saying I like her Tuesday routine. But we swapped it out to Wednesday the other morning, Deanna. So one friend, so it was one of those August thing, and I said, do you want to, you've got this 2-week free trial, which I wish was on there when I started to really understand it. And this friend was working really, really hard, was quite stressed with her work, and she was asking me, like, what can I do? I just can't. My health is suffering as a result of my work. And I said, well, you've just got to find time for you. And when you find that time, you got to move, because you can process emotions as well as get physical. Two in one. And then that 2-week free trial, so I sent it to, and I sent it to 3 friends, like I think you get, anyway, whatever. And she's still doing it now. It's so lovely. And she's lost loads of weight, and she had another exhibition opening. She's an artist. And around about the time that she was saying, Kat, I need some help, we were both in New York, and I was going to the 59th studio all of that week and walking an hour to get there. And then walking an hour back, and she was like taking a taxi everywhere and was stressed out of her mind. And then she had an exhibition last year and another one, and she just cruised through it. Yeah. And she went to the studio in LA.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, while she was there. Yeah. It was, it's lovely.
Is she on Instagram?
She is, but she doesn't do the Tamily thing. Like, she has she has one account on Instagram, and she doesn't do a personal account or Tamily. It's just her work account.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's very
Yeah.
interesting. We have another
Yeah.
question. That. So this is from your Tam best friend. She said, "Do you see a difference in your body going from AMC to IMC?"
Oh,
So
that's good. So before I slipped my disc last year, I was doing Attain, the advanced masterclass, and then I took those months off, and I suspended my subscription because I was in a lot of pain, and then when I went back, I went to beginners and then intermediate IMC, which is where I still am now, and well, I did a couple of attains last week to try to see if I was ready to go there, and I wasn't mentally. Do I see a difference in my body? Not physically in my body as a result of the different exercises, but when I did that AMC last week and tried it, I was really struggling with the choreography, the 7-point moves, and I remember when I was doing it, I'd pick it up a lot quicker because I was used to all of that.
yeah,
And the up down movements and the balancing, it was just such a different class. I couldn't believe, I didn't realize how different Attain was from fundamental, and so I just noticed that my athleticism wasn't as good. Like I felt as strong, but overall, like I didn't feel as balanced, and I didn't feel as cardiac. So there's a little bit of a cardiac component I feel to the Attain,
right.
but not in the body. The body's the same.
That's
Yeah.
good.
Any changes in my body, Deanna, as you know, is when I give up cinnamon buns.
Well, there's no reason for that. That's crazy talk.
Well, if you lived here around the corner, I'd take you to this cinnamon bun place that is really they're made with clarified butter, not butter. So the man, makes ghee, and I've heard he even grinds his own cinnamon.
Oh my god!
And they're just soft and gooey, and cinnamon and sugar and bread. So good. Anyway, I'll start drooling if I keep talking about it, so let's not.
Yeah, it's not an family interview if we don't talk about some
food.
What do your friends and family think?
I'll just answer that question for Michelle. It's that Little Loaf on Orient Street in South Fremantle. Yeah.
No.
Sorry.
What do your friends and family think of the Tracy Anderson method?
Oh, that's so funny. When I first started, and because my husband wasn't used to seeing me work out for an hour a day in the room, and I'd go to the gym, like I said, 3 days a week, or I'd swimming, just didn't seem the same kind of thing. But he just said, "Oh my God, who's this person?" And he just thought, he said, "You might as well just set up an altar. You just worship at the altar of Tracy Anderson." I said, "Well, she's amazing. I'd stick to my, but she is she's so, so what, for me, the thing is, I don't know what the culture was like in the US or in other schools, but I went to an all-girls school, and where you really had to be thin. I don't know, I hated it. And when I went to high school, it was when Kate Moss started to come into fashion. So you had to be really thin, right? And I remember my friends and I would just would live on toast for 24 hours for a whole week. So I'd eat 7 slices of toast a whole week. That's, and then would just about faint and have to eat something else and go back to our regular diets. And there's a lot of this very, very unhealthy diet culture. And whenever I tried to do that, just live on a slice of toast, anyway, so uneducated, I'd feel very weak. So I've always associated being thin with being weak, that as in thin people don't have, and I didn't like to feel weak, I like to feel strong and also have energy. So Tracy, to me, was one of these people where she was so tiny, so lean, but she just was like bouncing off those floors like Tigger. Like she had springs in her ankles. She just looked so energetic and looked so strong. And so she kind of helped me overcome that whole to be thin is to be weak. But that plays subconsciously. You don't even realise that's a belief system that you have until you do. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Wow.
I can't remember the original question, but...
I can't either, but that was very
Yeah. Yeah.
So we have just a few minutes left, actually, and this has been a really great interview because I actually have several questions, so I have to like pick from them.
Okay.
What is important to you that you would want to share with the Tamily?
Mental health. I mean, emotional health. I mean, yeah, that's really important to me. I think a lot of people come into the Tamily wanting to change physical parts of their body. That's certainly why I started, or you know, to stay strong and to lean, and you know, but the emotional, you know, slipping my disc was a real moment in my life. I think when I just realised just how powerful that mind-body connection can be. Having been a yogi my whole adult life, I understood it, and sometimes I just understood it intellectually, but to really experience it, I just the emotions that you need to process are just so, you just got to process them, and if the only way you can do it is through movement, well, that's a good start. I mean, there's obviously more to it. For me, meditation's really important. Like I was saying, that when I slipped my disc, I decided I'd still spend an hour on my mat, but instead of moving, I'd meditate. And I've kept that hour of meditation up. So now, you know, my morning routine's a 2-hour routine, then a 1-hour routine. But if I was to only have some days, if I was to only have an hour, like if I was travelling, like recently we went skiing, I didn't do TA because I just couldn't physically do both TA and ski all day. But I find meditation's the one thing that you can't give up. And I'd give up my sleep for meditation. Like, you know, I'd sooner wake up early and feel sleep deprived than not. Yeah.
Yeah, that's an excellent point. Meditation is important and very powerful, but so is Tracy. But
yeah, in a very different way. I mean, the meditation I was doing before I was doing Tracy was really very more relaxing and not very deep. So I think, you know, the more time you spend to it, the more deeper you can go.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Look at little Mooney. Hello, darling.
I know some of us know the answer to this question, but I just want to ask it so you can share with the Tamily. Where do you live and what do you do?
Okay, so I live in Perth in Western Australia, the land of the blue, endless blue cloud, sky, I mean. Oh, it's never not like that. And it's probably sunny here. I don't know, 360 days a year. It's nice, but come on, I like clouds. Deanna, Deanna, she's a Tamily member who doesn't post on Instagram, but she's quite active on the Facebook group. She's so funny, and if you go on the Facebook group, Tam Streaming, and I think it's got a smiley face, and the logo is a picture of Tracy in a white bikini. She's on there, and she writes the reviews for the fundamental class.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, so I met her. I couldn't believe that there was a Tamily member that lives in my city in Perth. But it turned out she lives in the suburb where I grew up, and I live in the suburb where she grew up.
Oh my God.
And she works in the suburb where I live now. Yeah. So anyway, on Tuesdays we go for a moan and groan or a walk and talk, and she's in contact with a lot of Tamily members. So I get all the news. I don't need to scroll through Instagram anymore. I just need to walk with Deanna and I find out what I need to find out.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's really great. It's really great because actually I do a lot less Instagramming because so much of my communication is through Deanna, and she's saying that Mariam got us together. That's right.
Aw, that's
Yeah,
wonderful.
yeah, yeah, yeah. No, it's really it's so much fun. She's so funny. And she's a hardcore TA
Mhm.
fan as well. Yeah,
It's
yeah.
actually,
So
it's awesome when we have these real friendships from this community.
it's amazing. Yeah, it is amazing. When I first met her, I knew we'd get along because we had the Tamily connection, but she was so yeah, she was very funny, but she was, and she lives in the suburb that I grew up in. She works in the suburb that I now live in. Like there was, yeah, yeah. No, it's really good fun, and and it was exciting to actually have someone in town because I just thought I was like the only person in Australia apart from Heather that did TA. It felt like that, I don't know. I'm not very good at finding stalking on social media, maybe.
Right.
But yes, I live in Western Australia here, and yeah, with Deanna, and it's super sunny. I believe it's the most isolated capital city in the world.
Okay.
Yep. So Denpasar in Bali is our closest city,
Okay.
and which is good. It's all right now, but it wasn't as a teenager. Like, you couldn't have access to anyone. All the bands would come to Sydney and, no one came to Perth.
Aw.
But, if you want to see white sand and blue skies and blue turquoise water, it's all like it's so beautiful. Yeah.
It's gorgeous just from the reflection behind you.
Yeah, and there's so much sun. Deanna and I have this, we argue all the time because she loves it. She's a sun worshipper, which I am too, but she's just like out there in the sun, in her bikini all day. And I'm just like, bring on a cloud, give me some rain. Yeah.
Well, we are approaching the last 2 minutes of your interview, and Instagram will cut us off. So is there a question that I didn't ask that you wanted to answer?
Not that I can think of.
Okay. Well,
yeah, no.
We want to thank you for being our 84th Ask Tamily interview. It's been so fun to talk to you.
It's so fun to talk to you.
By.
Yeah, didn't it? And thanks to technology that we can do this. But thanks to you and Nicole for organising. It's so cool. Yeah, it's such a unique program, isn't it? The Tamily. Yeah,
it really is, and I love being able to have this insight into everyone. So, will be on my story for the next 24 hours, and then it'll go onto YouTube in a few days, forever.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, great. Okay. Well, nice meeting everyone, and
thanks so much.
Yeah, keep on moving. All right. Absolutely. Thanks, Suzanne. See you.
Thanks, Tamily.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.